if we go to Simon Sinek, who did a very famous TED talk about why, how, and what a business exists. What he said was we get it backwards. We talk a lot about what our business does, and we don't talk enough about why our business does things or how it does things. So one thing I wanted to leave you with was just a concept and how I see you and what I think you are in the business of doing. And if we could wake up to some of this, I think a lot of the other stuff that we talk about will make much, much more sense. Why does a business like yours exist? Well, maybe we could look at it through this lens. We believe managing money properly has more impact on people's happiness and choices than anything else. It will determine or remove happiness in life, family, and relationships. Misunderstanding this is the cause of enormous personal misery, pain, and stress. We exist to eliminate misunderstanding and its destructive consequences. We are life and opportunity maximizers. And I think if you start to get a grip on, this is not just about products, this is about people's lives and real outcomes for them, and that small changes in people's relationships with money have enormous impacts on the outcomes in life. And that may be their relationship with their spending patterns, that might be their relationship with their credit card, that might be their relationship with debt, that might be their relationship with their family. All of these things are within your purvey. They're within your ability to help people. And if you start to look at those things and you start to say, how do I incorporate that into the information I'm sharing with my clients, the purpose of what you're doing, your why, becomes so much more. And the way people will value you and see you becomes much, much more. And that's what your brand is. That's what your reputation is. That's what you need to build this into. How do you do it? Well, our structure, our process, and systems give us the ability to administer your financial life over your entire lifetime. We help you manage money's entry and exit points in your life and maximize the efficiency, economy, and purpose of wealth over your lifetime, no matter how big or small. So we've built a machine that will physically deliver for you on what these things are. That's what my business does. What is it I'm trying to do? I want your life to be happier, because money makes people miserable if they don't know what to do with it. I want to make your life happier. Where's the product, guys? Where's the product house? This is all about you. This is all about your business and what it's really about at the end of the day. Do you want to get out of bed to sell insurance, or do you want to get out of bed to make people's lives better? Because it's within your reach. If you've got staff or staff are listening to me now, you're a huge, huge integral part of this. Every day when you get up and do those jobs which seem repetitive, you're making a big difference to somebody's real life. This changes the value of your team. It changes the value of how we see what we're physically doing and what we're trying to impress onto people. And I've already told you about the what. What do we do? Well, we do tender process. We offer you an ongoing service defined in certain ways. We make sure our first class passengers get first class service. We make sure our economy class passengers get off the plane saying, that was the best economy class that I've ever been in, and I'm really glad that I got to take the flight because I'm happier. I'm happy that I flew with this brand. I'm happy that I worked with this business. So those are the key elements of running a successful financial planning business. Now, obviously, underneath all of that, there's a lot that needs to happen. There's a lot of structure that needs to come into it. And if you want a good financial advice business, what you need to understand intrinsically is that it is an administrative business, not in the sense that it does paperwork, but administrative in the sense that an accounting business is an administrative business as well. So you administer people's financial lives. That's what you're doing. And you need the structure to make sure that people are on top of their current circumstance and you're on top of it, because then you can help them make the right decisions all the time. So process and admin have been put out as hindrances to our industry, but from a professional standpoint, they're absolutely central to making things work. And one of the problems in our industry is if you look at the pay gap between admin staff and advisors, it's huge. There's a massive pay gap involved. So the most important part of our business, the admin side, we're not bringing people in with the high skills that might be necessary to really make a business like this start to sing. For a lot of us as advisors as well, we do have admin skills, and maybe it's somewhere where we should be spending more of our time, and we could bring in other people who have more of a people basis to start to work with different people within our businesses. Sorry, I'm just accelerating a little bit now. I'm just conscious of time, but I know the things that I want to share with you. Okay, So if you start to look at an advice business, what does it really do? Okay, let's take away the product. Let's take away the insurance and the investment and other things. If you look at the client's lifetime with you, there are certain things within the business that have to happen that can be delivered through a process. Marketing and events can be managed through a process. Technical advice or paraplanning can be married into a process. Administration lends itself to process, obviously. Human resource management, financial management, process and compliance, segmentation and relationship management, IT, client relationships and queries. All of these things are functional. All of these things can be put into a process and peopled by people who know how to run a process. Now, at the middle of all of that, you need a coordinator. You need somebody who understands all of those processes and can oversee them to make sure everything happens that needs to happen within those. And I've moved on from practice managing as a term for someone working in the business. It's a good term, but I think we need to realize this is a bigger concept. And I've moved on to a chief operating officer, somebody who is able to coordinate these different elements of the business that deliver the client outcome that I've been talking about the whole way through. So the client relationships and queries, your segmentation and your service relationship, your marketing and events, your technical advice and paraplanning all touch the client all the time. And the chief operating officer is the person who makes sure every step in that process happens, that people receive what it is that they're supposed to receive, that advisors are doing reviews with the people they're supposed to be doing them with when they're supposed to be doing them, because they know who those people are. And what happens if you get this right is that your advisors, rather than selling a product, start to sell this process. They can go to their client bases and say, we're able to deliver an outcome because we've built this type of a solution for you. And just another idea for you, if you're thinking about this and how would I afford somebody who's able to do this kind of a job, there are a lot of senior qualified admin people in lots of industries who are currently finding themselves unemployed. And a lot of people in semi-retirement who would be interested in getting involved with another business opportunity and maybe starting to build it. Especially people coming out of corporate scenarios who might be far more willing to have that conversation with you than perhaps you think at the moment. So the skills in South Africa, uniquely in the world, are readily available to start to build some really exciting things. If you can get help with developing the processes, if you can get help with developing the people, if you can get help with the structure through a decent business management course, then you suddenly get your business into a situation where you could have an exceptionally strong model. And succession planning is not something that we're talking about today, but this is a business that can be sold because it can be understood. Whereas a product-based business is incredibly hard to sell to anyone who's not a product provider. So this model is the end point that we can get to in building something unique, powerful, and very, very strong. So those elements that we can look at when we're looking at process are very, very broad, very wide. 80-90% of what your business does can be put into process. Now, if you think about that in terms of where you're putting your time, if 80 or 90% of what you're doing can be put into a process and managed by the business, what does that free you up to do? How many more clients could you now bring in? How many more appointments could you now conduct? How much more time could you spend developing the business and acting as the owner and leader once that becomes the case? How much more time could you look at contributing to other people in that process?